Ooh, uh, man. Hey, friends. I'm going to start this episode a little differently. There's no music, no intro, no agenda, just honesty. If you've been listening to my podcast for a while, or if you're new here and somehow you found your way into this space, I want you to know something up front. This episode exists because I chose obedience over comfort today, to the point where I just knew that normally I would want to go and do my makeup and put on the right things and, have a certain appearance about me. And yet I just knew that if I tried to do all of that, I, hashtag real talk, would not do it. I've been quiet, not because I stopped caring, not because the work stopped mattering to me, and not because God stopped speaking. I have been quiet because life has been hitting me in a way that it's just rearranged everything. And when that happens, sometimes the hardest thing to do is to show up again in the places where your voice once flowed so freely. Podcasting definitely is a passion for me. For some, I'm sure it's really odd to just have a mic in front of you and talk as though you're actually talking to a person. And actually, for this introvert, it is very natural. And I can actually see the faces of some of you that I am talking to. And so that surely does help as well. And so for a while now, I have felt a very real hesitation about stepping back into my work publicly, about being seen virtually. That is, if I'm really, really brutally honest with you, that has been a hesitation since day one. I am not one that is for cameras, and there's other things underlying in that that I'm going to be working through. Being seen, turning the mic back on, showing up on video, podcasting again. Being completely honest, the resistance was not about strategy or clarity or timing. It was just simply fear. Fear of missing God, fear of getting ahead of God, and fear of making a mistake that maybe I wouldn't recover from. Is that too real for you? Well, if you've been listening to this podcast for any bit of time, you know that's me. I will be real, and maybe that's not your cup of tea or coffee. That's completely okay. God has made billions of people throughout the world, and so it is very clear to me that I will not be everybody's cup of tea or coffee. But for those of you that I am, here I am. And I'm thankful that God, in his never-ending mercy, has decided to continue on with me in this way. And so I am going to endeavor to do so by his grace. And so if you're a Christian woman entrepreneur, you already know this kind of fear that I'm talking about. It is the fear that sounds spiritual on the surface, but quietly it just keeps you stuck. A little over a month and a half ago, my grandson, Emmanuel, tragically passed away. And saying his name out now loud still takes my breath, as you can see. Emmanuel, God with us. His life was short, 18 years. And his impact was so massive. It is so massive. And somehow in the grieving, a thought has begun to whisper to me that if I move forward, if I step back into what I've been doing for work. And if I show up online, will he fade? Will his name get lost in the noise of life continuing? And so part of me felt like staying still was a way of honoring him. Like, if I paused long enough, maybe I could preserve him. But here's what grief does. It can blur obedience. Not in obvious ways, obviously. In very quiet ways, actually. In hesitation, in procrastination, in waiting for certainty that God never promised to give before movement. And that is where I have found myself in the past few weeks. Still loving God, still trusting him, still believing that he is faithful, but not moving. And so today I showed up for a coaching call that I could have easily, honestly, felt like I wanted to postpone. And yet, to be honest with you, I showed up to that call with no plan. I showed up with no expectation, really just a willingness to be present. And in that space, something shifted. We talked about God's faithfulness. We talked about the way clarity comes when we slow down enough to notice his cues. We talked about how peace is not passive. It's actually very directional. And I realized something I need to say out loud. Clarity did not come because I figured something out. It came because I showed up. As I have been thinking about my grandson, Emmanuel, I keep seeing his smile, and I keep hearing what I believe he would say to me. Nah, Nana. You can't stay here. Let's get up. Let's move. Let's make this count. And that hits me in a way to just say, moving forward does not erase his legacy. Staying stuck does not honor him or his legacy. Actually living fully, faithfully, obediently, that is what keeps legacy alive. Ooh, there's a soberness that comes when you stand at a funeral that just feels unfair. And you realize how brief life can be. It strips away excuses. It clarifies what matters. And it leaves you with one question you cannot outrun. Will I be found faithful? Not flawless, not impressive, faithful. So today, I'm getting back in the saddle. Not because everything feels easy, as you can see. Not because grief is done or gone, as you can see. Not because fear magically disappeared. Oh God. Shaking in my boots as I am talking right now. I'm getting back in the saddle because obedience matters more than comfort. If you're listening to this or watching this and you have been holding your breath, if you have been waiting for certainty before you move, if you've been afraid of getting it wrong, missing God, or making a mistake that feels too costly, I want you to hear this clearly. God does not require perfection from you. He's asking for obedience, and peace will tell you what's safe. You know, scripture says that there's a voice behind you that says, this is the way, walk in it. Not 10 steps, not the whole map, not the whole blueprint, just the next step. And peace acts like an umpire in our hearts. It tells us what's inbounds and what is out. And that is what is guiding me right now. Peace. So what does this mean moving forward? It means the podcast is back. It means I am re-engaging my voice. It means I am showing up imperfectly, but honestly. It means I am choosing to trust that the same God who is holding Emmanuel is the same God who will keep my footing sure as I move forward again. If you're a Christian woman entrepreneur that has been circling a cycle of indecision, if you're tired of striving to hear God clearly, if you want to lead and build from peace instead of pressure, there is space for you. I created the Unhindered Woman Collective for women exactly like us. Women who love deeply, women who are tired of overthinking obedience, women who want clarity without striving. You don't have to figure this all out on your own. So with that, for every single one of you that have been listening in to my podcast, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for holding space for this moment of me re-engaging. Thank you for letting this episode be what I needed it to be. I'm here. I'm listening. And I am moving forward one step at a time. And hey, friend, God is with us. Always. Until our next time. See you soon.
Recording stopped.